This is Vanessa and Tony. After 18 years and 4 kids together, their relationship is in deep trouble.
We're coming to you because my wife wants to leave me because of our finances.
Currently, they are facing one of the most disastrous financial situations we've ever seen on this show. You guys have 1, 2, 3, 4,
5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18.
19 different credit cards. That brings your total amount of credit card debt at $117,000.
Like, I'm done. I'm sick of it.
As a final attempt to save their future, Vanessa and Tony have turned to me, hoping for a lifeline before it's too late. Welcome to Finance Action, the show where we take action. My name is Romain, and today I'm with Vanessa and Tony. How are you guys doing?
Doing good, thank you.
I'm great, thanks.
Excellent, guys. Let's look at your profile. I'm going to start you first with Vanessa. You are 39 years old. You're originally from Utah. You currently live in Las Vegas, and you work as an office manager as well as an artist on the street. Is that right?
Yes.
Excellent. Let's move on to you, Tony. You are 38 years old. You're also originally from Utah. You work in Las Vegas as a barber in IT and at the airport. Is that right?
Yes, correct.
Awesome. Anonymously, looking at the way you guys rated your personal finances from chilling to Mayday, you guys rated yourself as Mayday. So this couple that has now been together for what?
18 years.
18 years. Going through quite a bit of financial pressure. Tell me a little bit about what's going on here.
We're coming to you because my wife wants to leave me because of our finances. So you, as a financial guru, we need help, or she's gonna take off.
We are speaking about tens of thousands of dollars of credit card debt, among other forms of debt. But I want to understand the individual first. So, Vanessa, let's speak about you. So, you grew up in Utah, pretty religious, and the kind of the Mormons. Walk me a little bit through kind of who is Vanessa.
Yeah, so I am the oldest of 6 girls. And so money was tight. And I feel like it has become a part of me to have money be tight. And which is kind of a downfall at the same time because I'm a giver. And so I give even when I don't have anything. I'll give the shirt off my back to someone that needs. And so it's kind of put us in a predicament where if someone needs something, I'm using a credit card if I have to. So I'm a pretty strong giver in that sense.
Okay, and we'll see how this kind of whole mindset has led you financially. Thank you so much, Vanessa, for providing us more color. And now you, Tony.
As an artist and creator, I struggle with finances. So with our marriage, I am the supporter, not the breadwinner. Let me just say that. I am also have great love for other people. If it puts me behind, I'll do that for somebody.
Okay. So pretty much 2 givers, and we can see that in your statements too. And we'll account for that as we think about recommendations to that whole mindset and ideology. But now that we understand kind of both of you, the creative aspect and you kind of more the breadwinner of the family, managing pretty much the whole financial aspect, how do you guys feel today?
Stuck. Like it's overwhelming. It's exhausting. It's a sense of just being stuck and not knowing what our options are. And I mean, being only bankruptcy. Like I want solutions. I want to know how I can be better.
Okay. How do you feel about your finances today, Tony?
I feel buried when I feel like we might have a little break or a cushion. I take every advantage of getting something for myself, or even taking my kids out for fun. It takes a huge toll on your emotions. Finances
is generally one of the primary reasons for divorce, unfortunately. And with the situation that we'll explore together, I can understand that there may have been some tensions, but how have you guys been able to handle the swings of emotions and pressure?
I'll be the first to admit it's been really hard. And there's been a couple times where we've been close to divorce where I'm just like, I'm done. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of having everything on my shoulder and trying to make sure that kids are fed, kids are clothed, kids are taken where they need to be taken. And it gets overwhelming and it gets to be a lot. And I mean, there's times while I look at him and I'm just like, I hate you.
And so how I retaliate and I'll go, you know what? I'm going to go sign up for blood plasma, and I'm going to go give blood. Come back with a wad of cash from that and say, look, here you go. So I'll sign up for DoorDash and just go at it and just stuff like that, or Lyft, any side hustle I can get quick money. Or I'll call somebody out. Hey, you need a haircut? Come over. I need some extra cash, and just to put a Band-Aid on our situation is that's how I retaliate. Is it long term? It ever sticks to long term? No,
and those tend to be great fixes for my emotional well-being at the time. But then when it comes to rent being due, it's like, where's the money? How do we do this? What do we do? It's that whole thing of like reality hits of, do we have money for rent? Do we have this? Do we have that? But then miraculously something happens to where it's like, there's an extra $200 right here, or there's this, there's that, or he's donating plasma, where it's like, okay, that's that extra $200 that we just needed for rent. And now let's focus on next month's rent. So it's, yeah.
I see. And over that time, you guys also had 4 kids.
Yeah.
You feel something is not going right now with your kids. Tell me more about that.
Yeah. So, I mean, when they were babies, it was easy for me to work full-time jobs and to work as much as I needed to. And now I feel like they're at a position where they are being bullied at school. They just have a sense of depression going on. They have anxiety. And I feel like they need mom and they need dad and they need someone that is in their life and not just there. And so when we're busy with work, when we're busy trying to do all these other things, it's like, we're not there. And every time that they're asking me questions, I'm like, okay, can you repeat it again? Can you repeat it again? Can you repeat it again? And they're like, Mom, you're not listening. And so for me, with everything going on, it's stressful. It's trying to worry about paying bills. It's trying to do this and this and this, but it's also taking the time to stop and love on them, making sure that they are feeling important, making sure that they're feeling like their needs are met. And so as a parent, that's where my heart tugs, where it's just like, I want to be there for them, but can I financially? Because it's emotionally and it's financially. And together, for me, if we're in a good financial situation, it's better emotionally for everybody.
And as her husband, as men, we should, we're always taught about being a provider, a presider, and a protector. And so when you fall through some of those cracks and not being able to really fulfill any of those, if it really takes a toll on a man's emotions, and depression sets in, or and then the next month's rent and all these other bills, it creates anxiety, and so I feel her loneliness. There's no words to describe the feelings that makes me feel as a man and as a husband, even a father, to even be able to help her out.
Interesting. Today, as a couple, outside of the financial pressure, there is still love for one another, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Definitely. We're in love. It's just when the finances come through, it just puts a toll on our relationship.
Yeah.
Okay. As you know, guys, and for anyone watching, I always find a solution. So every bit and piece of information that you're providing, I am registering it and almost kind of digesting myself those emotions in a way that I understand the couple dynamic, and I'm going to try and help you find answers to that tough points. Okay. And for me to be able to do that, we have to dive into the specifics of your finances. So let's rock and roll together. All right.
Okay.
There's quite a bit here as we transition into your income and your assets. Vanessa, we'll be starting with you first. You work as an office manager for a dental office locally.
Yes.
You are also part of a band that sings in a show on the Las Vegas Strip. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
It's an up and going process, but overall per year, how much would you say you make?
67,200.
67,200. Excellent. We'll be accounting for that. And then for you, Tony, you work pretty much a bunch of different jobs. I see here statements coming from barber, from an IT job, also from the airport, but you do a little bit of plasma, a little bit DoorDash, Uber, everything that you get your hands on. But at its root, you're also kind of a father and you also take care of the kids. But so with this combination, how much would you say you make per year on average?
27.
$27,000. So that brings you guys together as a couple at $94,200. Okay. When we compare that, so if I was to make the split, when we compare that against the median in the United States for the age bracket between 35 and 44, which you both fall into, 50% make more, 50% make less, the median is at 61,400. So you're in the upper 50, you're in the lower 50, but again, you're also helping with taking care of 4 children that are between 5 and 13 years old. So still quite demanding activities and so on, I imagine. Okay. Now, let's transition to what you guys have. So today, you've provided me with all of your statements, and for the most part, with what you have is pretty straightforward. You have a checking account with a balance of 2016. Okay. You have saving account with no balance, $1, but you also have a money market investment, so kind of a brokerage of some sort with 166. Any other form of investments, savings, retirement, anything else? No. Okay. Now, what is good to hear is you have cars, although you have debt on those. But let's see what cars you guys drive. What do you drive?
2015 Nissan Altima.
How many miles?
About 121,000.
Excellent. So looking at the value for the car right now, if you were to sell it private party, is about 7,494.
Okay.
You have another car.
Yeah, it's a minivan.
Nice.
Chrysler Pacifica.
Okay.
2018. It has about 108,000 miles on it.
You guys also have a loan on this one, but the value of the car today is at 15,319.
15.
And that's private party, not even trading. Okay. So upon understanding and knowing in knowledge the debt on those cars, you guys are underwater slightly on those. Now, let's look at your total assets today if you were to sell everything. I'm not accounting for like furnitures and so on, but cash plus cars, you're at 24,996. But in reality, in cash, you have about $2,000 or so in front of you right now as we're speaking, okay? It's true that it's a little bit on the fine line, especially with 4 kids and no retirements at this age. We are in a situation where we definitely need to take action, especially as we think and transition to our next segment, which looks at your expenses and your debt. I looked at some of your expenses, and one that is extremely steep is your housing expense. How much do you guys spend on housing per month?
It's $2,350.
Does that include utilities? So where are you at with utilities?
$2,705.
Okay. Walk me through a little bit about the thought process behind, such an expensive house, if I may ask.
Well, I will tell you this, it started at $1,900. And that was back when we first rented, and then COVID hit and they jumped it up $500. And then we did this thing where I was like, hey, is there any way you can lower it? And the property management was just like, comparisons around, no, but maybe we could do $50. So they cut us $50.
I mean, I'm going to be straightforward with you right now. You're paying 42% of your income goes into your housing.
Yeah.
That's over leverage. We like it to be below 28. Now you're a family of 6. So housing nonetheless is going to be expensive, but it is true that we would need to make efforts on that front. You guys are kind of not creating any equity on this. I believe you're also living in a pretty, good side of town that is driven mostly by the choice for your kids' education. I can respect that.
Yeah.
But that is putting you into a little bit of in front of a wall, okay? All right, let's dive into this together now. Some of your debt, and let's start soft with your transportation. So on the Grizzler, you guys have a loan of $20,071 with a very nice interest, though. I don't know how you guys pulled it off, of 3.2%. So that is something that's nice. But today on that car, you're paying about what? How much is it per month?
$535, I believe.
$535, okay. But you're underwater on that car at $4,700. Okay.
Yeah.
You have also another car loan. This one is for the Nissan, which is nice to see because you're positive on this one.
Yeah.
The loan is at $3,546 at an interest rate of 3%. That is very nice to see. Your monthly payments are about what? $137, okay. On this car, you have actually positive equity, if we look at the calculation for it, of about $4,000.
Okay.
So that is good to have. Now, can you put 4 kids into a Nissan Altima?
On laps.
Right. So safety-wise, we're a
Back
little
in
bit scared
1980s.
here. Right, okay. So we're going to have to think. Now, with much respect, if this was the only form of debt, we would be pretty happy. Okay? So this is when it's going to be a little bit tough. But guys, I want it to come as a intervention. I'm going to put this in front of you a little bit here. It's voluntary. It's part of the process. But so that we can kind of move on from it together. Okay?
Okay.
In terms of credit cards, debt, you guys have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 different credit cards. So I have 17 credit cards myself, but I don't have 17 credit card debt. The minimum for those start at 1,267 and it goes up to 11,655. So Vanessa, I'm going to go straight to you on that first one. So overall, if I sum as an individual for you, your total amount of credit card debt, you're looking at 62,928. And my friend Tony, for you, credit card debt-wise, you're at 53,762. Together as a couple, that brings your total amount of credit card debt at $117,000. So I must say, number one, I'm actually impressed by the fact that you guys were able to get as many credit cards as this. For such amounts, most of them are over $5,000 in credit limit. But now I need to prone you to the question. Guys, how do we get to $115,000 of credit card debt?
Balance transfers.
All right. Tell me more. What do you mean?
Spending money on everyday life and spending money where, if someone needed something, we were there and just used it. But then when another credit card offer comes in the mail, and it's 0% interest for a balance transfer, I was jumping on that. And so every time that it would come, that's what we would do. We'd open another credit card, we'd transfer the balance, And then once that was pretty much up there and maxed out or close to it, then we'd go back and use the other one that we transferred the balance from.
19 times.
19
Okay. So I want to understand though, like, generally you do 1, 2 balance transfers, but here you've done it, as I mentioned, 19 times. How do you feel though through that process? At some point, you are not like something's going wrong here. What's going on?
At first, we get hope. Hey, look, we have a balance transfer. We can take this card and put it with this card. So, as the financial guru in our family, which Vanessa is, she'll help me understand what's going to happen, the process, and in return, I have a hope of eventually, okay, we can do this. We're gonna balance. We're gonna transfer this balance into another card, and we just pay that one off. But then again, life happens. People needing help or whatever comes in our life, and then ends up again like what she said. Then we use the other card for certain things, and then that hope kind of just gets squashed, and we get buried again, and so.
But we did own 2 different homes, and so when we would do that, we would rack up our stuff. We would sell our house and be able to pay it off, and so. But then it would start the process over again on the next house.
So at some point, it is my understanding, because most of those are pretty new. So at some point, you guys were financially stable.
Yeah.
Everything was running smooth.
Yeah.
But what was the tipping point that when you go down this? I mean, we're not speaking $10,000 of credit card debt.
Yeah.
It's 115. There were maybe a lot of expenses here that flowed through. What was that tipping point?
We got to a point where there was a lot of debt going on, and we were like, oh my gosh, we have this plan. We're going to pay it all off. And then he got a pay cut, and it was over half of his income. And so that put us in a spiral.
They gave me a call right before Christmas saying, hey, the company is losing money. We're going to be cutting everybody.
Okay. So I can, in a way, understand the dynamics of what happened, especially when you have 4 kids. Things can start to go pretty fast. But now I want to look at last month. Okay? And I want to look at some of the transactions. You guys have, in a way, I have to come to you a little bit here. How can you explain trips to the amount of 391, 390. You guys are traveling, around the United States and putting all that money on credit cards still. What's the thought process here?
Again, we are all about emotions, right? And so with living more of making our lives make more sense with emotions rather than make sense with finances, with family, having graduations, and we got to be there. It's all about supporting. We have this graduation, we have that graduation. This year was a lot with graduations.
Okay, I mean, I can understand that. Now, walk me through a little bit about some of the Instacart, the Amazon of the world, the Lyft, the Cantina. Guys, what's going on here? I see tens of expenses, $60, $59, $44. Yeah. We're not in a financial position to be able to afford those luxuries.
Yeah, so that was when we went to Florida, and it was for a birthday, and we had to get a Lyft because I wasn't going to pay $500 for a rental car for a deposit, and then on top of that, the cost of the rental car. So that was our Lyft. So I was like, I got to cut some expense in some way. And then Instacart, we were staying at our family's house, but we didn't have a car. And so I was like, we'll just have it delivered to us because they were at work. So We didn't have a car to go get that. So I'm trying to cut expenses in ways, but we do love to spend time with family. We love to support them. And so those are essentially our trips.
You? Because I hear a lot about, we're supporting, we're helping, we're giving. You guys are, hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt. Where's the help? Where's the help? Who is helping you? I don't see any money coming from anyone. Who is helping you guys back? Like, I want to understand. I love the concepts, and giving and so on. But, I mean, as you guys know, today you guys are at the verge of bankruptcy, and we'll be speaking about this. Mm-hmm. You're giving, but guys, today, with much respect, both as individuals, you have zero for yourselves, no retirement, no savings. But the most important things, your kids right now, what's going on? And I see expenses that I cannot justify. I cannot justify those. Last month, despite you guys struggling to pay for debt, to pay for your rent, I see a donation of $1,600. So I would like to understand, the faith aspect is very important and is how you guys have been driving your life. I can completely respect that. And you guys, I encourage you, please, to participate in that if that is what you want to follow, but maybe not in a way at the detriment of completely running you in pieces. So the question that I have for you, and that is going to be important at some point, is how much does such a high donation, and what I'm saying is not to not donate, is to say, could we potentially work on this aspect, reduce it potentially in the short term, because this is something that we will need to help you guys get back on track in a way. Okay? So I don't want to cut on that aspirations because I respect your ideology completely, no matter which religion. But are you guys willing to budge on that with me for a moment to help you guys get back on your feet or not? Or is it something that's very firm? But again, guys, you guys have $2,000 on your account with 4 kids at 39. So is this something that I can account as a moving piece as I think about my recommendations, or is it a firm? That's just the way it is, Romain.
It is firm.
Yeah, it's firm.
Yeah.
It won't move.
Mm-hmm. It won't move.
Okay.
We feel that giving 10% of our earnings does provide us with, if not physical security, but spiritual.
Okay. So you guys would be willing to impact your comfort towards respecting that agreement?
Yes.
Okay. I respect that. I have to account for the components around your life. Okay. I'm going to think about this as I think about your recommendation. Okay.
Okay.
The only way that we're going to be able to pull this off is that there needs to be a completely change of mindset. You guys are living a life of luxury on pennies and on debt that we cannot justify with 4 kids that are counting on you. The 5 years old at some point is going to want to go and study. And I'm sorry, we can't bring you because we spent $57 on Amazon. We can't say that. We can't do that. We have to change the mindset and start with things that are more healthy behavior, healthy structure, healthy financial foundations. Okay? So I'm hoping that when we're going to discuss soon about some of the components around the recommendations, that you guys are open-minded to making efforts on that front. Because we can't see this anymore. What I'm going to do, though, is I'm always fair in the process where I'm going to be accounting. I'm going to do the job on your side for money that you can spend on those luxuries however you want it. But it needs to be controlled. Because otherwise, I mean, right now, there are not too many solutions other than bankruptcy. It's true. I'm going to say it straightforward. But a lot of which is going to be how do we install the right processes from this, okay? So you also have, outside of credit card debt, you also have some student loans. Now it's not as extensive, $6,267. I don't see any other form of loans. It's nice to see that you guys have not fallen under the predatory payday loans and any of that BS that this shit should be illegal in the United States. I absolutely hate that. So at least you guys have control your spend into regular forms of debt, but also you're paying a crazy amount. I mean, if I'm making some calculations out of the $116,000 or so of credit card debt, you guys probably only spent, 70 of it? 75? Because credit card debt, as we all know, is one of the highest forms of debt in the United States. Nothing is going to beat it. Okay. Speaking of which, if you have any form of debt higher than 10% interest, you should prioritize paying that debt rather than investing that money. So imagine that 30%. I mean, it's a joke. Like you're literally not shooting yourself on the feet. It's in the leg at this point. Okay. So what I'm saying is today, right now, if we were to sum, all right, this is going to be tough. Okay. If we were to sum your net worth as a couple today, you guys have $25,000 of assets, $146,574 of debt. That brings your net worth at minus $121,600. Now, generally, this is what I see when I see people with mortgages. Right? You guys are buying a bunch of things that are giving you an instant reward. But future-wise, I mean, there is only so long that you guys can still be in the workforce, and I don't want you guys to have to put the pressure of all of that financial strain on your kids. Because right now, the way things are going, you're sacrificing the life of your kids to sustain you financially. It's as blank as it is if you continue in that pattern and behavior. I'm going to present you a plan. I'm also accounting for your current stage of your credit score. You guys are pretty much at 473 and 471. At this point, they are pretty much shot. So we're going to have to go and right away sprint towards something that gives us hope and gives us recovery. Now, what you guys are fortunate is that you're living in one of the only countries in the world that allow you the chance to press restart and press reset. This is a luxury, guys. It's a luxury. You're very, very fortunate of that. But again, if I see the statements as I'm being presented right now, well, in a way, guys, you know, no matter what you're going to do, you're going to always find yourself in that stuck mindset and mentality. So we need to take action. Are we ready to take action?
Yes, sir.
All right, guys. And we are back here for the money case. And this is going to come to you guys as an intervention. Okay, so what I'm about to show you is a pure mathematical calculation that looks at the amount of money right now that you guys are underwater every month. So despite working, you know, gigs and airport and IT and office manager and having 4 kids and everything, I'm going to put it straightforward to you guys. Right now, and I'm being conservative. I'm not even accounting for some of the recent trips. I'm just looking at an average on the recent statements. Per month, you guys are underwater. 1,362 per month. With your current income, you guys are losing 1,362. And again, I'm being very conservative because the $116,000 of debt that you have accumulated is a succession of those months where you guys have fallen underwater. Okay? At the amount of money that you need today to survive. Okay? Not even like thinking about the crazy other things. Right now, given your current cost of living, your cost of transportation, you guys are at 373 over your income. This is 0 restaurant, 0 Lyft, 0 Instacart, 0 trip, nothing. Just to survive. Not putting a cent on the side. And I'm accounting for about $700 or so of donation. Okay? You guys are losing, no matter what, on your needs. almost $400 a month. So what comes straight to mind is two things. How can we reduce your expenses? To a certain extent, this is your need. But most importantly, how the heck can we increase your income? So I'm going to walk you through a pretty unique approach, okay? Follow along, guys, at home as well. This is a critical case. It's a mayday, a true mayday, but there is an exit. Let's dive on this together. In full transparency, I'm not here just wanting to save your finances. I want to save your couple. Because in a way, I have compassion for you, but I also have very much compassion for your kids, okay? Because they shouldn't be, in my eyes, having to suffer from some of the decisions that you guys have full authority in making, okay? So what is going to happen, and you guys know about this, you guys are going to have to file, each of you, for Chapter 7. I mean, at this point, there is absolutely no other alternative. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is. Mm-hmm. So what's going to happen is you're going to have to find, and I can see already that you've started the process on that front, a lawyer. It seems that he's charging you about $1,200, which is very, very reasonable. Generally, bankruptcy case is about $2,000 to $3,000. And it's going to be about a 6-month process, okay? What's going to happen is you're going to have to list every single assets that you have, as well as every single debt. They're going to look at your income, your family situation, and then it's going to go through a liquidation. So you're going to have to speak for about 30 minutes on a webcam to a judge and say whatever the lawyer told you to say. And I believe, it is my understanding, that I would say that you guys have a very high success rate of having all this debt wiped out. Mm-hmm. So congratulations. Thank you, America, for giving you this chance. Because if you were not in America, with much respect, homelessness would be behind the door. Straightforward as this. So you guys have this opportunity. Now, what's going to happen is I recommend you to be mindful of the assets that you have, okay? So that, you have to be fully transparent with what you own, right? Because what they're going to do is they're going to classify different types of assets. What is necessary to live, what is a luxury, and what are things that, maybe we can part way. Okay, they're going to look at your checking account, how much is on that, and so on. Well, what's nice is you guys have peanuts on it, so they can't take anything. You guys have 2 cars, an Altima, no matter what, they were not going to take it from you. And in a way, thank you that you guys have 4 kids, because that's most probably going to save you from them picking up the van. Mm-hmm. Because if you didn't have 4 kids, I think they would take the van. Naturally, you can't have a full family transported in a 5-seater. So in a way, you're going to be protected on that front, which is a grace. Mm-hmm. On the other hand, what's going to happen is your score is going to completely rocket down. You're going to implode. But what's nice about it is it's already imploded. So your score is not going to go pretty much lower than what it is. You're probably going to lose 20 points. Now, this is going to be on your credit report for about 10 years, okay? So for 10 years, you're going to be kind of asphyxiated with any form of debt availability that's going to come to you. So forget about credit cards. Maybe they're going to come to you and show up in about 2 to 3 years, okay? But this should no longer be an option. We are done with this life that has been constantly waiting on you to the point at which you've put yourself in a circle of $116,000 of credit card debt. Now, what's going to stay, no matter what, is going to be your student loans of $6,000. Again, thank you that they are federal. It's not going to be wiped out, except for you could potentially, there are cases that you could rely on to get that out, potentially. So consider it with your lawyer. There are options, kind of backdoor options where I've seen, it's about 5 to 10% of the cases where, student loans get wiped out as well. Anyway, it's $6,000 when looking at the 120 plus that you guys are into, 146. It's okay. We can live with that. So you're pressing reset. 6 months, the process is going to take. Now, what is going on for you? Well, you're going to have a very hard time finding housing. It's going to become very difficult, okay? And what's going to happen is either you're going to, having to live in a dump, Or you're going to have to put a crazy deposit, which you don't have the cash right now. And per my understanding of the contract, looking at the contract on your lease, it is expiring in October. We are 2 months from it. So we have to find a solution. Looking at the amount of money that you should be spending on your housing, given your current income, it should be about $1,800, including utilities. That would be a mathematical good calculation. However, let's be honest, you're probably not going to be able to have that, except if, as I mentioned, you're going to have to find money somewhere, somehow. So, upon understanding a little bit about your situations, as far as I know, you can't really rely on your parents to live in their home. What's going on your side?
No, my parents already have someone living with them.
With their kids already?
With their kids, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's kind of...
So that's out.
Bye, yeah. Felicia. What about you, Tony? Anything on your front where you could come back to something?
Nope, nothing at all. My parents are small house and no room.
Okay. Any form of money that we can pull from anywhere? No?
No.
Okay. So any form of housing, potentially, that we can pull from anywhere?
The camper in my parents' driveway.
Is it big?
It's got 2 beds. So I think we could make it work if we needed to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's think about this. Because as I mentioned previously, you're looking at your needs right now.
Yeah.
We can make it. We can make it.
Right.
There is no matter what. If income doesn't increase, we cannot make it. Assuming that you want to maintain also that donation. That is very expensive in a way, but it is part of your lifestyle.
Yeah.
So we need to sacrifice something. Okay? Well, what are we going to sacrifice? Is naturally, I think that your car payments are going to go down, so you're going to be able to save a little bit of money on that front. But you, sir, are going to have, in a way, and I'm sorry to announce it this way, to stand up to the plate this time. You have to find your place, maybe not as the breadwinner, but you have to find your place as a full participants of the economics of the couple. Because at $27,000, knowing that the kids, for the most part, are being able to stay at school, it is overly constraining and overly pressuring on the relationship. Not just the relationship, but the financial aspect. Today, living off that salary in America is possible under certain conditions, but you need to find a way to find stable employment, at least for the next couple of years. My planning is about 3 years, at least, where you're just putting your hats and it's grind mode, okay? So what's very nice about you, my friend, is you guys have a car. That works. And today, other than not wanting to do it, you can very well drive, and I know countless amount of people for left while the kids are at school or while your partner is taking care of it and make $25 an hour. I know people here in Las Vegas that make over $1,000, $1,500 a week driving, okay? So I need you to suck it up on your creative front, gear up, put your armor, and freaking grind. Because your lovely partner here, for the most part, is bringing her fair share of the finances. And while there was money mismanagement, I can't, really compliment you for all the actions. To be honest, this is not the most preferable way of managing finances, but you've kept the ball afloat. For on your side, you need to maintain the line, have trust in your partner that he's going to bring his share. So what's going to happen is that, Tony, you're going to be grinding, and the objective for you is at least to make $50,000 this year. So you grind the drive, you grind the side jobs, you do everything you want during the times where you don't need to be available for the kids to bring $50,000. What you could also consider is getting certifications, let's say, to be in an area of service, given that you're handy, like a plumber, an electrician. You would get the experience for 2 to 3 years, and at some point then build your own business. What I would recommend actually, if you were to build a business, is to use Relay as your business banking partner. I've used them myself. They're absolutely amazing when it comes to managing your finances if you have a side hustle or a small business. So this is something also that you can consider as you think about ramping up your business and your future income. Now, what's going to happen? If I was in your shoes, honestly, I would go back and live in the trailer for 1 to 2 years. Cut on any form of other expenses. I am allowing you $100 per child per month. Right now, with much respect, you guys cannot think about yourself for 1 to 2 years. You forget about yourself. The whole focus is how can we recover from this situation, because you can, mathematically, you can. I have seen worse that have made it. So I'm still accounting for some of the faith aspect, which for me, I currently define it as a want. Personally, you don't need it mathematically. And so that is your want aspect. So this is where you decide to invest your money. So what's going to happen is now with the extra money that our friend Tony is going to bring, you guys are going to average per month about $8,000 net. Now we're speaking. Because now, on the side, you can put easily $1,200 to $1,500 per month in savings. And I'm being easy. If you move to the trailer, you can easily pull $2,000 to $2,500 per month. And what you're going to do as a couple is I want you guys to have bi-weekly check-ins. Okay? As easy as it is. Each of you, I want you to set yourself objectives of income, but also of time to spend with your kids. Your success as a couple is going to be driven by the combination of those two. Because I believe that once you guys are satisfying those two conditions, naturally the couple hopefully is going to join back together. Mm-hmm. So you're going to be accountable for what you need to make on a bi-weekly basis. You're going to need to be accountable for this. And the responsibility no longer comes to you. Numbers, I can understand people on the numbers people. That's good when we are 20 years old. At almost 40 years old, today it's in and outs. This is no longer an excuse, unfortunately, that I can accept. I want you to have full ownership as well of your wife to it. It's a partnership. It's 50-50. Not in a spend, but in a responsibility. You guys are going to file under bankruptcy. There is absolutely no problem with the pride of that. I've had countless of people filing for bankruptcy recovering. And yes, you're going to get hurt on your pride. But at the end of the day, it's America. Do not feel ashamed in any way of leveraging government assistance to get you guys back on their feet. No one cares. No one cares. What is going to happen is in a matter of about a year or so, not only will you guys, for the most part, will be debt-free, you guys will have positive income to expense on your financial statements. Mm-hmm. But now we can start thinking about building the financial foundations. That is come from an emergency fund. It is come from investing into your kids for $529. I want you guys to start putting $50 for each of the kids. I don't care that the amount is low. I want to instigate the behavior. For each of you, you guys are going to open what is called a Roth IRA. Okay? In a year, you guys are going to have 2 cars. You guys are going to have $20,000 of sort of savings. You guys are going to live in a way that is highly efficient, where the kids still have a chance to get out of the current environment where they are being bullied at school and so on. You speak with your kids. I want them to be informed of what's going on. Not the 5-year-old, but walk them through the journey. What's important is for them to understand that they are part of that growth and they are not suffering from that decision. So explain them in a way that is a positive twist, where we are going on an adventure, okay? Where we are going to be building the very strong foundations for you guys' future. At the end of the day, this whole dynamic here only falls under the condition at which, Tony, you step up to the plate. You've lost a little bit your pride as, kind of the male provider. And with succeeding at accomplishing this, you're going to gain some form of momentum and self-confidence. And this is where I think you're going to just demark yourself. And then you're going to find that position, that thing that actually gives you guys stability. I can see you in a way as the future provider of this family. In a way. But you need also on your side to guardrail all of that and no longer allow for expenses that falls outside of what is necessary for you to make it. You guys have to grind and get into the right mindset, but the exit door is still open. You guys can still make it. That's my assessment. What do you guys feel?
I feel like you're right on. But it's going to be hard, challenging, and I think we have a great future once we put our minds to it and realize what's important, because our kids are suffering and they need us. And so with us being able to have kind of a roadmap of how to do it and what to do, puts it into perspective.
Okay. Tony, I know I came to you a lot.
I agree.
You feel good about it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was just, while we were on our break, I was just whispering to my wife that this feels great. This feels good. You seem very genuine, and I appreciate that. We as humans, we put up walls against certain things that are too good to be true. And I feel like I can let down my wall on this one and go 100% in. I to those out there, you can still trust people out there with, if it's financial, if it's physical, emotional, whatever it may be. There's people out there that are truly genuine in wanting to help you.
Awesome. Thank you.
You never know what's going on with someone in their life, and people smile through their problems all the time. And especially with social media and everything, where it's just like you just feel that they're in a better position than you at all times because they're just showcasing everything that's good in their life. And this just brings it back to where, no one's perfect. No one is born with the playbook that you can just have success your whole life and know what to do with money and be financially great at all times. But this is a new adventure for us, and we're excited to embark on that. So we thank you so much for your help.
Awesome. As you guys think about the future efforts that you guys are going to partake into, I want to offer you what is something that I have a tremendous amount of value to my eyes, which is a Frenchie, okay? This is a Made in France bracelet, and I want each of you to have one and to wear it. I've been wearing mine for 3 years. Now, this is a visual reminder that say, hey, this is what we're working towards. And most importantly, because both of you are going to be wearing it, you guys are going to work on it as kind of a couple. This is going to be something that's going to link you through the next steps that you're going to take in the next year or so, okay?
Okay.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And well, and with that, guys, thank you so much for following through our journey. We invite you guys to check out the rest of our videos. Thank you so much, guys, for coming on the show. We see you next time. Until then, à bientôt.
Here's our update. So we have paid off our bankruptcy, monthly payments, and we are awaiting to push the button on filing. Our holdup is that I don't have a Social Security card, and so I have to wait for it to come in the mail. So that's what we're waiting on. And then we just got his mom taken off our phone plan today, and we are going to be switching over. We still have installment plans we're trying to pay off.
Yeah, on my end, I got a full-time at a pizza spot. It doesn't pay as much as we'd hoped, but it's another extra income. I did get another a side gig with my photography stuff.
Okay, so the camper's a no-go just because it's gonna be cold in Utah. But we did get a basement apartment. We're going down from a 4-bedroom, 3-bath house to a 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom basement apartment. And we are decreasing our monthly rent by about $1,000. So we are pretty excited about that because I still get to keep my job that's here. I get to work remote. And so that alone will pay for our rent, which I'm excited about. But then we're also excited to hear back from these jobs that he has lined up. I will admit that I was really strongly contemplating divorce. And with the advice that you gave us, it has given him a fire under his butt to do something.
So thanks, Romain. The biggest difference was you helping me with you really opened my eyes and about like my responsibility and my obligation, I mean, if you want to call it that, of providing for my family and taking life seriously. You've given me a plan that I know how to structure a plan for myself. My whole life I've been going, like I told you, I've been going through job after job after job after job, and then becoming like prima donna of like not wanting to do it because of certain things or it just not feeling if it's right for me, you know, and you giving me a plan of like, look, you need to dig deep, you need to stick with it so that you can have a future and invest in your future.
So yeah, when we take this seriously, it actually has put our relationship through a roller coaster into where it's like, do we want to continue together? Do we want to break off and go separate? But it has truly opened our eyes to the goals that we have, the end goal of where we want to be. And so for us, it has brought us closer. It has made us stronger in ways that we never thought. And we are attempting to make it work. So we'll see how this all goes. We're just hoping for the best, but we want to thank you for your help. So we're following this momentum. We are going forward.
So much love, Romain. Appreciate you.
Thank you.